valued, almost like a balloon that's going to pop. And I looked at his measures, I looked at his track record, I looked at how he kind of analyzed things, and I said, there's really something to what he's saying. And a lot of times it's about these ratios. They have these different ratios that they look at. And now, if you want to understand the different ratios and all that, we have a whole stock market program, and we do stock market Tuesdays. So if you go to the blackstockmarketprogram.com, you can take a look. Also, what I'll do is I'll share a link every week in the program. I give the students access to stocks that I like that week, and some of these investments are end up turning out really good. And there's always risk, of course, but I'll share this link with you if you want to join. It's called What Dr. Boyce is Buying, and here's a link where you can actually join for 70% off. And every Monday, I deliver a list of stocks that I really like and a list of financial moves that I am making, things I believe in. And so it's up to you to decide if you want to take a look, but feel free. It's right there in the chat. And because you're in this class, you can have 70% off. But ultimately, with this pending market crash, what he really mentioned that I totally agree with, or my interpretation was that there is a concern about what they call these black swan events. Black swan events are kind of events that you just don't expect to happen. They kind of broadside you, like just getting smacked in the head out of nowhere. And effectively, it is my belief that there is some black swan event, some terrible event lurking in the background that could happen that we don't know about, that we're not thinking about, that's going to potentially derail the market and cause some type of panic. Will it be temporary or permanent? Nobody knows. But there's also a concern that some of these AI stocks are overvalued. And that's kind of a mixed bag, though, because there's some people who believe the AI stocks are appropriately valued. And the thing is, the reason you don't want to get so caught up in this, to the point where you allow fear to make your decisions for you, is because every time the market hits a record high, there's always a camp of people who say it's too high, it's gonna drop, right? It's like almost like climbing a mountain or walking a tightrope at higher and higher levels. There's always somebody who's looking down thinking, oh my gosh, if I fall, the bad thing's going to happen. So I would not sort of let this stop you from continuously making your investing moves. I would just say maybe you might want to keep a plan B to the side, maybe have a little cash to the side, and so that if the market prices do drop and you can buy some stocks on sale, that might be a good opportunity to buy. Also, if you're in the Prime program where we sell call options, selling call options works extremely well when there is a flat market or a dropping market. Why is that? Well, because what you're doing when you sell a call option is you are selling people upside. You're selling the upside to someone else. You don't know who that person is, but you get cash into your account. So in a way, what you're doing is you're taking yourself out of the game by simply getting your money and letting somebody else take the risk. They're buying the risk from you. That's why they give you money. And that works, because if the stock price goes down, then the call option that they purchase ends up being worthless, but you still get to keep your money. So that's another thing that I've always done that actually protected us when the stock market didn't do so well in 2022. A lot of you were in the Prime program during 22, and you remember that 2022, everything kept going down, and that's why those put options were so important. But now in 2023, our big problem was that everything kept going up, up, up. So you kind of had to kind of calibrate with that. So ultimately, 2024 is a reminder in this article. But this guy Hussman, it's in Business Insider. Feel free to go take a look at it. This guy is basically reminding us of something that's really important in terms of economic consciousness and financial vision, which is that all good things must come to an end. The rain always comes after the sunshine, and the sunshine always comes after the rain, right? It's a reminder that this too shall pass. If you're going through a bad time in your life, just remember this too shall pass. If you're going through a good time in your life, just remember this too shall pass. Everything shall pass, right? So ultimately, keeping that in mind when it comes to investing is extremely important, and it's something I want you to sort of consider. So don't get caught up in the panic like a lot of your loved ones, because they're only going to scare you, and it's just not going to do much for you. And here's another interesting thing about investing that a lot of people don't think about is that a lot of people won't invest. How many of you, give me a yes or no? Give me a yes in the chat if you, because I want you guys to participate in some of this. How many of you have heard somebody tell you that you shouldn't invest because the stock price could go down, or they're afraid to invest because I'm scared that I'm going to lose money. I'm scared that the value of my stock is going to drop. Give me a yes. That's a common thing, right? A lot of people say, well, the price is going to go down and da, da, da. Okay. So here's what I want you to think about though, right? If you don't invest your money, what are most people going to do with that money? Like what is the alternative? It's almost like if you break up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, And who are you going to date after that? What's your alternative? What do you think most people are going to do with that money if they don't invest it? Most people are going to spend it, right? Thank you, Albert and Archer. They're going to spend it. They're going to spend it. Some people will save it. Some people are disciplined enough to put it in a savings account and keep it there, which is not terrible, but it's better than nothing. But it's not. It doesn't work in a world where inflation is very real. Inflation is literally like little cockroaches and rats that are eating away at your money every second of the day. They're eating away at your money. So most people, if they don't invest their money, they're just going to sit it and, or they're going to take it to the mall or to Applebee's or whatever and give it away. So here's what I would say to those people that say, well, the market's going to drop and blah, blah. Okay, I hear you. So imagine if you take $1,000 and you put it in a stock. And let's say that it is a terrible stock. Let's say that this stock does not do what the other stocks do. Let's say that it's like Disney or something. Disney's doing better recently, but they were doing really bad for about 4 or 5 years. That's why Disney's in the middle of a big fight right now. They're fighting over control of the company because the management has failed. So let's say that this $1,000 investment drops to $800 5 years later. So you made the investment in 2019, and in 2024, your $1,000 has turned into $800, and you're like, man, my money's gone down. Well, I want you to think about it though. Let's compare things, right? You might call this relative pricing, if you will. If I had taken that $1,000 and went to the mall and bought me some sneakers and some, a new outfit and went to dinner with my friends or whatever, how much of that $1,000 would I have left 5 years later? How much of that 1,000 will still be in my pocket later, 5 years down the line? $0. Now, maybe if I really like to buy nice stuff, maybe I still have a pair of shoes in the closet, or maybe I still have that outfit, possibly, right? So you would get something. You'd have something, but something with no market value, right? You can't go sell that outfit. It's not like you can go back to that same place that you bought the outfit from 5 years ago and say, I'd like fair market value for this pair of pants. They're not going to give it to you, right? So I would almost say to you that even bad investing is far better than no investing at all. Not always, not in every situation, but even investing in a bad market is better than not investing at all. And that's because when you buy stuff, when you own assets, assets are what they call a store of value. It's a place to hold your money. It stores your value. And if you store your value, it's just like storing meat in the freezer or storing your vegetables in the pantry. If you store your food, then you're always going to be able to eat. But if you don't store your food, then eventually you're going to be hungry, and then you're going to run out of food, and then you're going to have to go and ask someone else to give you food because you won't have any food left. So what I'm saying is I want you to think about investing not just as, oh, I'm going to put this money in, I'm going to get a quick flip and I'm going to double my money in 2 weeks and no, it's a store value. It's just, okay, I don't want my money to go away. I want to keep it around for a little while. I love myself and I care about my future self. I care about my kids and I care about my family. I care about my security. So my money is power. My money is a type of financial security for me. It protects me from things. So I'm going to make sure that I store this value so that I can make sure that I can at least get something from it or have something around. And then the other thing too is that when you invest $1,000, at least you own a possibility that 1,000 is going to turn into more money. Do you understand? See, spending has no hope attached to it. There's no hope attached to taking your money and blowing it at Applebee's. I mean, for sure that money's gone. But at least with investing, there's hope. There's this chance. Maybe that $1,000 stock is going to become an NVIDIA or an Apple or something like that. Maybe that 1,000 will turn into 1,400, 1,500, 2,000. You're giving life to your money. You are fertilizing the plant, right? You're planting a seed. The seed may not grow, but you can't grow a seed if you don't plant any. And so whenever you run into somebody, we tend to get the most financial advice from our broke relatives. Our broke relatives are the ones who give us the most financial advice. Tell me if I'm lying. And when you're getting financial advice from broke relatives, I want you to, and then they tell you how broke they are. I want you to simply observe. You can't ask them because they're going to get mad, but I want you to observe and ask yourself, how many seeds did this person plant? And then when you understand that they didn't plant any seeds, then you'll also understand why they have no harvest. You see, there's no farmer in history crazy enough to believe he could have a harvest when he planted no seeds. Am I right or am I right? But we have people all over the place that say, I don't have any money. I don't have any opportunities. I don't have any. And I'm not making fun of these individuals at all because unfortunately they were tricked. They were tricked by society because society tricks you. It makes us, if you're not conscious, it makes us just stupid sometimes. It makes us do, or better yet, it makes us do stupid things. So a lot of times it's fascinating to me when you see people that say, I have no harvest, but then it's like, well, where'd you plant your seeds? So maybe what they're hoping for is that they can get a harvest from someone else's seeds. Like maybe their boss planted a seed, built a business, and they're hoping someone will come hire them and allow them to live off the business that was created by someone else. And there's nothing wrong with that. I get that. So, but that's a very vulnerable, frightening place to live. So what I would say to you is this is very basic. Remember, most of finance comes out of biology. Most of the equations, the high level mathematics that we did in finance, are literally equations that are stolen right out of biology. Everything's taken from biology. We're like Dr. Dre with music. Anybody ever seen this? I put this up on my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. Sometimes I say, just if you follow me on Twitter, just be prepared. I say off the wall stuff. I say whatever's on my mind. I observe the world and talk about it because I'm part of the world. And I'm not just a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So I saw this video where they showed Dr. Dre's music and they played all these really famous beats, all these really famous songs that he had going all the way back to the Chronic. If you're a hip hop fan, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, I'll just explain it. You'll get it. And every single beat that I loved, that I've known about for 20 or 30 years, was stolen. Well, not stolen, sorry, sampled. They call it sampling. You know, yeah. Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm assuming Dr. Dre paid somebody money to use the beat. I'm sure it was done all legit, above board, all that stuff. But it really kind of diminished my view of the music because I said, here I was, I spent all this time thinking that Dr. Dre was this creative genius, and he was just borrowing all this, borrowing these beats from all these other people. And so it's interesting because it's kind of funny because I don't even remember exactly why I brought up the Dr. Dre thing. Maybe it's because it was on my mind. I know it is because I was telling you about the quirky stuff I talk about on Twitter. But it kind of just made me think about how sometimes things are not what they seem, right? And a lot of times the solutions are easier than you think. And I'll tell and I know hip hop. I know that they sample all the time, and I totally get it. But I kind of think that there's a difference between someone who samples a lot versus someone who sits there and comes up with the original creative idea, right? But then again, though, the interesting thing now if you want to parallel this to business is that maybe one way to sort of take that quirky Dr. Dre conversation that I just shared with you and apply it to business is to understand something. And this is actually going into our slides today. So there's a connection here in that a lot of people think that in order to own a business, you have to create a business and run a business. Right? They think that in order to be a business owner, you have to sit down, come up with the idea, make an investment, figure out the business model, and figure out how to make money. That's what a lot of people think. And nothing could be further from the truth. You don't have to run a business in order to own a business. You do not have to start a business in order to own a business. This week, if you were here Friday, Ace Chapman, he came into class here as well. Ace Chapman was showing people in the Black Business School how to, with no money down, go and acquire businesses. There are thousands of businesses out here that have founders that are getting old and they want to get rid of the business. They spent 40 years building capital, a type of capital called experience that they use to make money with this business. They have the business model figured out. They have the customer base. They know how to make money, but they're going to get old. They're going to die. Eventually, we all get old, and they don't have anybody to pass the business to because maybe they had no kids, or maybe the kids are too interested in doing other stuff or whatever. So Ace goes around and he buys these businesses off of people that where he doesn't have to figure out a thing. Also, franchising. We have a big franchise program in the Black Business School. It's Black Money 104. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, they can guide you to the franchise program. And so attorney Tanya Nebo did, literally probably 40 hours of training on how to spot franchises and how to make that first little investment and turn that into a business. So a lot of business ownership is misinterpreted as entrepreneurship. See, the people that really are the smartest business owners I found are not people that go through the whole process of giving birth to the economic baby and raising the baby from an infant. That's what it is. It's painful. It's like giving birth, except the infant mortality rate for a black-owned business is about 80%. So it's like giving birth, and the baby has an 80% chance of not surviving. And then if the baby does survive, then you have to feed the baby every day consistently for 10, 20, 30,000 hours. And then eventually the baby is doing well and is healthy and is strong. That's hard to do. So if you're not in that category, just know that a lot of the most prolific business owners out here don't run anything. They didn't found anything. They simply did the Dr. Dre method. They went out and found something that was already working, like Dr. Dre did. Dr. Dre didn't have to come up with certain beats. Like what was the one he did with Snoop? Da 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 da. It's the one and only deal, right? That whole beat in the beginning, it was somebody else's beat. It was from 30 years ago, right? So what he did, and Diddy did the same thing too, I think, where they would just go back and say, instead of me trying to figure out and guess which beat is going to work, which song's going to be a hit, let me just go find something that's already a hit, and let me just adapt it. Let me go acquire this asset, which that's what it is. That's what a song is. A song is an asset. So I'm going to acquire this asset, spend, $20,000 or whatever. I don't know how much beats cost. And I'm going to bring it in the studio and add a little bit to it, make it mine, and then I'm going to release it. I'm going to put all the credits in the fine print, but no one's going to really see. No one's really going to see that I did this, really, because people don't read the fine print. Like seriously, give me a yes. Give me a yes if you thought that most of Dr. Dre's beats were Dr. Dre's beats. Like when you heard like the Tupac beat. Remember that Tupac song? Somebody mentioned Tupac called out Dr. Dre. Thank you, Sharif. Yeah, for being lazy. Anybody, how many of y'all thought that, like, remember Tupac's what was that song? California knows how to part. Right? That was a great beat. I thought, wow, look at Dr. Dre. He did it again. He did it again. Like the Pootie Tang movie. Remember the Pootie? If you ever want to laugh, if you like quirky humor, watch the Pootie Tang movie with Chris Rock. It's so funny. It's like Pootie did it again. It was like that. I remember feeling like, wow, listen to this. This is great. Dr. Dre's amazing. That was not his song. That was not his beat. But can you blame him though? Right? He said, I don't want to make this a guessing game. I'm gonna find something that already works. And then I'm just going to put Tupac in there and it's going to be really cool. And most people are going to think I did it, not because I lied to them, but because they don't read the fine print on the album that they bought. I bought that Tupac album or that Dre, whatever that was, the Death Row. I bought that album and I did not at any point say, well, who's the original creator of this beat? Maybe hip hop enthusiasts would have done that. Maybe people who make beats for a living would have done that. But most fans don't do that, right? So ultimately, what Dr. Dre did by taking these beats and sitting them out there as if they're his own, without being deceptive in that practice. That is actually what a lot of people do in business. They just acquire stuff, right? In fact, actually, those of you that are in the Prime program, literally, when we set up, you'll know that when I explain to you how to buy certain companies, protect your investment, and then generate income from those assets, what I'm really showing you how to do is how to create a business without getting out of bed. Like literally, you can run a business, especially if you have a capital base and not even a big one. I'm talking like 10, 20, $30,000. It may be sitting in your 401k. It's not doing anything, or some money from a HELOC or something. You can literally sit there and create a business in your bed. And yeah, Elhaj says it's the best feeling ever. Yeah, I mean, some of you are in the Prime Pro, you know what I'm talking about. But literally, that's what I'm showing you how to do. And the reason I'm able to show you is because that's actually what I do myself. Because I spent thousands of hours with trial and error. If anybody wants to take a look, just go text the word money to 87948, and I'll send you a training called How to Make Money Without Working. That explains kind of the gist of what we do. And then if you want to just jump right into the program, it's at drboyceprime.com. It's really good. Everything has a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee in the Black Business School. So if you're not happy for any reason, we will give you a refund. So don't think that we're here to have you invest without knowing that the results are going to be real. This isn't college. We're not going to charge you a bunch of money just to give you a bunch of nothing or a bunch of regrets. So feel free to just go to drboyceprime.com, take a look. See if you like it. There's a lot of stuff in there, and it works. It really does work. And yeah, you can join us in class. But it tends to work best if you have like a little bit of capital that you can invest in. And this is why I've explained to you guys in class. that the biggest thing that you can do in when it comes to making money is not get a degree or get training or work your butt off. The biggest thing you can do when it comes to making money is have a capital base. That's what you do. If you give that to your kids, then you're giving them freedom for life. If you give your kids, if you do things like the $5 a day plan and you have enough discipline in 2024 to invest consistently for the kids or the grandkids, or maybe you set up a trust or some sort of automatic deposit and you're disciplined enough not to sell those assets, you're giving your kids something money can't buy. You're giving them freedom. You're giving them access to the rest of their life. And this is something that I didn't know about until I got older because I really just think that they don't want you to know these things. They don't want you to know they don't really want I don't think they really want millions of people to know this kind of stuff. I'm really convinced because here's the thing. If millions of people knew about this, that would put capitalism in danger because a lot of capitalism is built on people blindly going to work every day for the capitalists that really understand the system, how it works. Like if you talk to most billionaires that run these big companies, they didn't grow up thinking, "Oh yeah, I got to just go to work and get a paycheck," and they're not thinking like that. That's why Robert Kiyosaki, his latest book, I think it was called Fake, and he was talking about fake education, fake assets, and fake money. He was saying, "All this is fake, 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 fake." And I don't disagree with Kiyosaki on this. I like he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't disagree with him on this. I think he's right about the fakeness to a point. But I think that the extremism of the explanation isn't always necessary because I don't think that fake education is really completely fake. I think that education in the traditional sense can add value. I'm not a guy, again, I'm a college professor. I'm not a person that's going to say that going to college makes you stupid, it's a waste of time. Because that's going to make you feel bad and it's not necessary for me to say that. It's what is true is that college ain't enough. See, what is true is not that the public school is this terrible place full of terrible people that want to constantly destroy black folks. I think that does occur, though. I think bad things do come out of that. But I know a lot of people who go to public schools uh, who um, who do just fine. Now, Karen says it will not allow you to text money to 87948. Can somebody try that real quick and give me a yes to let me know if it works? Karen, if it doesn't work for you, just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Can someone text money to 87948. Let me know that it works for you. Give me a yes if you got a confirmation because I want to make sure that it's all copacetic. Everything's working the way it's supposed to because we have systems and I'm going to make sure our systems work. Okay, so I'm seeing some yeses. Okay, so if it does not work for you for whatever reason, maybe because you're in another country or something like that, a couple other ways you can access the material is you can email the support team. We have a support team on standby. They will answer you within 24 hours. So you can email, and this is true for any question you ever have about me, the Black Business School, upcoming events, or anything else, like the Stock Options Summit in Los Angeles on April 19th, just anything that's coming up, or the All Black National Convention, which is October 25th in Chicago, right outside Chicago in Lombard, Illinois. And then also, if you want to take a look at the Prime program, you can go to drboyceprime.com. You can join from right there. And you can even make it a family membership. You can bring everybody in your family. I think James Wilson actually trained his whole church on stock options, and it literally changed everyone's lives. So these are the things that you should understand. So anyway, I don't remember exactly what my train of thought was. Can somebody remind me where I was? See, I'm 52, and sometimes stuff just disappears from your brain. But help me get back to where I was. Where was I before I got to see? That's why when y'all ask me a question that takes me off, it triggers my ADHD, and sometimes I have to write it down. What was it I was mentioning before? Please help me get back to where I was because I want to finish that point. I know it was an important point. Um, oh, Kiyosaki, that's right. So Kiyosaki, when he talks about education being fake, no, it's not fake. I think if you pursue education in an appropriate way, it's very real. Like if I go to high school and I do it and I work hard, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to really learn stuff. If I go to college and I'm studying every day, I'm going to learn real stuff. The problem is that I'm not learning the right stuff. And also the problem is I'm not learning enough stuff. Do you understand? I may not be learning relevant stuff. See what's right, what's real, and what's relevant and what's appropriate is the stuff that is really going to apply to your life. And I still think about that when I think about the class I took at the University of Kentucky about Irish peasants in the 19th century. I don't think that as a black man in America in the year 2024 today, that I needed to know about Irish peasants in the 19th century. It's not required knowledge in the black community. there's no reason for me to know that the Irish peasants used to have this drink called Boney Clabber. And Boney Clabber was this drink where they would take spoiled milk and put cow's blood in it, and they would sit it on the porch and let it get all nasty, and you know what milk does when you sit it in the sun for a few days. And for some reason, somebody decided that it made sense to drink that. That they didn't get that from Africa. They didn't get that from us. The Egyptians didn't teach them that. You know, they didn't learn that from the Kenyans. So that, so I never forgot about Boney Clabber. But knowing Boney Clabber adds no value to my life other than me giving me a funny story that I can tell you during class. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next point here. One other thing I wanted to mention is that we are going to show our new movie. It's called B1 the Movie. And B1 the Movie, we spent years making this movie. We've been talking about releasing it for a while. We had to delay it just a little bit, but it's really, really good. And everybody in the Black Business School gets to attend for free. And so I'm going to share a link where you can register. We're going to show it during our weekly Powernomics training. It's going to be on April 3rd. And if you know, on Wednesday nights in the Black Business School for free, we do Powernomics training where we all get together and we read Dr. Claude Anderson's books. And we've been doing this for years. We've read every single word of 3 of his books. We're almost done with the Black History Reader. We're going to move to the next one after this. And it's free, and it's something that you should bring your family to, because what it does is it gives you that history that we need to understand in terms of knowing why our economic condition is what it is, right? You have to know why they stole your money and lynched your great grandfather. You have to know why so many of the American assets are in the hands of whites and not blacks. And so that's what Dr. Anderson does for us. So the link is there for you to join. If you don't see that there as well, you can just text the word greatness to 87948. If you text greatness to 87948, I'll also send you an invitation to join us when we do the